Good evening, Daniel Jackson once again, and welcome to Politics for the People. This is going to be episode 2, where we're going to be talking about playing for power. Playing for power, we'll be talking towards the voting, the importance of voting, why people don't vote, and then how can we get more people to vote. All right, so just as a quick reminder, I just want to let everybody know I'm running as a candidate in the 2024 election for Georgia's 12th congressional district. So Georgia's 12th congressional district is located in eastern Georgia. It's comprised of 24 counties, 24 counties being up top, Wilkes County, Lincoln County. Down bottom of those 24 counties, you have Bullock County, you have Lawrence County, and between you have 24 counties. So the quick depiction that's going to come up on the screen of that is right here. The 20. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that problem right there, but yeah. So here's the depiction of the 24 counties. Right, we got Wilkes and Lincoln County at the top, and then down bottom you see we get down to Effingham, which is partial, which is Wilkes is also partial, and we have down bottom Tatnall, Toombs, Washington, Wheeler, Lawrence. So if you see your county listed on this map, it's about 750,000 people, give or take, within these 24 counties. I am running to be your candidate within this 12th congressional district, right, at the federal level. So with that, please go to the website, which the website is www.danieljacksonforcongress.com. Once again, that's www.danieljacksonforcongress.com. Please support. All right, we need donations as well as volunteers. All right, so with that, I got a few guests that I'm going to be talking to tonight. I'm bringing some close friends of mine on because we want to talk about this voting thing with people who are from the area, from the state of Georgia, and try to get a full understanding of, once again, why people don't vote and how can we get more people to vote. All right, so with that, I'm going to introduce my first friend. He's a good friend of mine. I actually just went to his retirement celebration the other day in Thompson, McDuffie County, David Mew. So David Mew, welcome to the party, man. Thank you once again for inviting me out to your celebration, your retirement celebration a few days ago, man. That was really good, man. It was really awesome out there in good old McDuffie County. The people of Thompson really showed up and showed out for you, man, to include your friends, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming, man. I had a great time, man. I appreciate you, the opportunity for being here. Looking forward to, discussing this topic. It's very important. We got to get our people out there to vote, especially the youth, people that's graduating. You need to understand the importance of politics. You understand that early because you can't wait late. You need to get in early.
Right. Okay. Hey, well, let me go ahead and add the rest of the fellas to it, man, and then I'm going to get back with you. All right, next we're going to add in Justin Rainey. Justin Rainey is a leader within his community. He's also a Georgia boy. Justin Rainey is representing Bibb County, as I remember, right? Macon boys out there. What's going on, Battle? How you doing,
man? What's going on, boss? What's going on? Soldier life never stops. So we're going to be doing this as we on the move. But you know how we do it. I'm going to represent the MacTown. Stay down. Let's go.
That's what's up, Battle. Welcome. And last but definitely not least, I got my man, 50 grand, Nicholas Toller. Mr. Nicholas Toller, representing Truetland County, Soperton, Georgia. I've been down there to the house a few times, kicked it with the Toller gang, and it's always a good time down there around them parts. How you doing there, Mr. Toller? Welcome.
I'm doing well. How y'all doing? I appreciate you for inviting me to this forum. You know what I'm saying? I know we need to get in on these topics and fine tune some things as to how we move forward with it and how we can help push you up to be the candidate that we're looking for.
Oh yeah. I need y'all to push me too. Y'all know how I get. You know what I mean? But no, let's go ahead and get to it. But before we get to it, the first thing I want to say is for you viewers out there, please comment. Send in comments through Facebook or whatever platform you're able to do it on, or where you're tapping in through. You can tap in through my YouTube, of course, but I believe you're able to send comments through the Facebook. Please send comments in. We'll cover those throughout the conversation as we discuss. But yeah, so last week, let me give a quick recap of that, because we had Mayor Jonathan McCullough from Statesboro, Georgia on. Big shout out to him. He's doing some big things down there in Statesboro, Georgia. We had Representative Lynn Gladney from House District 130 on. Big appreciation to her for showing up and talking through the legislation piece. And then we had Ponsier Daniels on. Shout out to her. She's doing some great things out there in Warren County with the mental health clinic inside of the high school out there. So with that, though, what I want to transition to is what Lynn Gladney said, because Lynn Gladney, it was something very simple that she was covering, but I don't know if it went over people's heads, and I think that gets back to the why people don't vote, right? Lynn basically said, in order for her to do her job at the state capitol, because Lynn is part of the Georgia General Assembly, so she goes to Atlanta to advocate for the people within her district, right over there towards the airport here in Augusta. Her thing is she can't get things done unless you put more people at the table with her who are on her side, right? And that's the basis of voting, right? But I'm just trying to get a firm understanding, and maybe we can do that through this conversation, as to why don't more people vote? Because I know we as veterans, right? Everybody within this conversation right now, we're veterans. We've been directly impacted by decisions at the federal level, right? So the elected officials at the federal level. So we know a little something about the voting piece. But then here at the local and state level, it's a lot of people that's in charge of things, and they're never held accountable, because if you look at the voter turnout, nobody's really participating. So I'm just going to toss this one out, and I'm going to let David, you start, man. What are you seeing in McDuffie and Thompson, man? Why aren't people turning out for the vote?
It's a mix. It's a lot of people don't think it really matters. They don't think it actually they're counting the votes. Your vote counts, because they don't see instant results. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't see instant results. They expect something. As soon as somebody come in office, they expect immediate change, and they don't understand that it's a process. It's a timeline. You might not even see the results until after that person is out of office. And we learned that in the military, so that's why we understand, hey, there's a process. it's a timeline. You can't expect something to happen immediately. But I understand, as a person, that need resources or whatever it may be. If I'm voting because you promised me something. You told me that you're going to, produce, you're going to show up. But then you get in office and we don't see no results, 6 months, 7 months, whatever. So it kind of deters people from voting. It deters people from voting. They look at it in a bad way. So we got to change that stereotype and change that, and give people, let them understand and educate them. Hey, there's a process. There's, keep on, stay active in it, and you'll understand what's going to change or what's going to happen.
Right. Okay. Well, what you think, Mr. Toller?
I agree with that. Big piece in Truland County is the education piece, man. A lot of our guys, they if they don't know what's going on, they're not going to go out and vote. I see it as a deterrent in our community when others that they're with are not going to vote. So, hey, why should I rock the boat? So, in my opinion, just getting the word out, getting these guys registered to vote, so on and so forth, things of that nature, it will bring more light for the masses, and then I think that'll flood the gates from there.
Okay, yeah, and look, I saved this guy for last on this one because Justin Rainey, I think me and him, we've had a lot of passionate conversations about the lack of caring within the state of Georgia, because being Georgia boys and being in the federal government for 20 years, we come back to the state of Georgia, and I don't know, man, we really want people to be active. What you're saying, Mr. Toller, and engaged in this political process. So, Mr. Justin Rainey, go ahead and talk to me, man. How you feeling about this? Why aren't people voting?
Hey, man, I'm glad I'm out of my my state of green suitness so I can actually talk as a civilian, right? So I'm gonna tell you, man, the biggest thing is like they both hit it on the head. I have to agree with everybody. Education is the key piece to everything, right? If you know better, you'll do better. That's the thing that we always say, right? And then people don't realize just how much the politics affect, like you say, us in the military, for example, right? People don't understand that by who's in office affects my paycheck, to be honest with you. The raise and stuff like that. But not only that though, but what level of voting matters too. The things that you want to affect you depends on the matter of election that you're voting in. So you got to understand that. So again, I agree with both these gentlemen here that's on right now that says education. The more we educate and we go out there, and not to mention, there's other things that happens out there that cause people that can't vote. But then they need to understand that after the process is done, they can go back and get those rights. So again, man, I mean, it's a lot about education, battle.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, so the voter pardon me. The voter education piece is key. I've noticed that out here where you talk to someone, and I don't think that people fully understand how elected officials have to go sit down at the local, the state, and the federal level. Like I know people say, oh, well, they teach in ninth grade civics or whatever, right? But how many people actually participated and paid attention in government, right? So when you start to talk about going around the city, right, whether it's down in Soperton, whether it's over in Mactown, or whether it's over in Thompson, or here, in the Augusta metropolitan area here within Evans, Georgia, you got a city council though, right? You got a city council that sits there that's elected by the local people. And so if you go down the street and you go into your school, your child's school, and you don't like what's going on in that school, you have a board of education, right? You have these people who you elect, right, throughout your local level, whether it be the city or the county, that are responsible, right? All your tax dollars, when you're taxed locally, that goes into a pot of money, and the people who are making decisions upon what's going to be approved in your area are there at the local level, right? City council, board of education, things of that nature, right? State level. You go to the state level, man. Lynn Gladney was here last week. She goes to sit down in chambers that are majority Republican right now. She tells, she just tells the honest God truth. She's like, look, if people want to see a change, the change that you're going to get is when you actually go and vote, right? You got to go vote the people that you want in, right? And with that, at the state level, all of your state tax dollars. So if you're in the state of Georgia and you're paying that, that money that they tax every year, right? That money is going to go into a pot of money where the people, the majority party that's in charge, they're going to decide upon where that money goes. That's just how the game is. So if you're in the state of Georgia and you got a problem with healthcare, you got a problem with education, once again, you got the party that is in control of the resources, right? And so I think that's it's the education piece where, I just explain local and state, but we all know at the federal level, and I'm gonna leave that alone because at the federal level, we all know that all the federal tax dollars, right? And from Congress, they go through and it's allocated up there. That's where the legislation takes place, where they sign off on who's going to get all the money, the Defense Department, healthcare, Social Security, all those things, right? That's the level I'm running at, right? And so if we don't have those things connected at the hip, then we can't really get resources from the federal level down to the local level to fix things, right? You got federal, state, and local dollars that need to be infused into the solution. So with that, how can we get people to vote? That's the tough one. And before we do that, I just want to show a depiction of what I'm talking about, because I keep on talking about how people aren't voting, but I'm going to show this real quick just to give people an appreciation for the 12th congressional district and the lack of voting. All right. So if we can go ahead and transition, let's bring up the election results. So here we have the election results for this past election, which was the 2022 midterms, right? That's where Stacey Abrams was going up against Governor Kemp. And, you didn't have a presidential election in the midterms, but the midterm election was that was the big ticket here in Georgia. Now, this was the turnout, right? If you look all the way to the right column, like everything on the left is just telling you about the county, some things like median age, but I want you to focus on the voter turnout. And then you can really focus towards population versus how many registered voters there are as well, right? You take a look at that and you start to think to yourself, you're like, okay, man, there's really nobody that's in a 70 percentile, right? There's nobody that's in the 7th percentile. And you look at the big numbers of like Columbia County, right? Columbia County actually did, a lot better than other people, right? They actually care a lot more out here, I guess. But let's go to this next one. I want to show you Richmond County. Let's look at Columbia County and those counties. But let's look at Richmond County. All right, and I'll focus on Richmond County because I grew up on the south side of Augusta. Went to some of those schools, and I've been around the city of Augusta since I was a young man, right? Like Monte Santa was my first school I was in Augusta out here. So I've been in schools and I've been living in and around the Augusta metropolitan area pretty much my entire life. But here's the thing I want to point out. Richmond County is the center of all this, and that turnout was just over 50%, right? So you look at that, and then you look at the registered number of registered voters. You can already see there's a lot of growth there, right? There's people out here that aren't even registered to vote. But then you look at the voter turnout, ballots cast versus registered voters. This is why we say, or I'm saying, and everybody else is kind of agreeing right now, we have a really big problem with voter turnout, right? So with that, how do we get people to vote? That's my biggest question, because I'm trying to get people to care, right? Like the Democrats this last time, they were running on universal, not running, they were pushing for universal pre-K right here in the state of Georgia. You would think that would be a winner, and people who have kids be like, yeah, we're going to, go and do that. Or when they say, hey, we're going to improve upon education or improve upon healthcare, you would think that would move people, but I don't think it does. So yeah, I'm gonna pause right there. I'm gonna go reverse order this time. Justin Rainey, well, how do we get people to vote, man?
So again, man, I'm a firm believer in, being in the military again, since I'm still in there. People follow the trend. You have to make it trendy. You have to put it out there, and people have to think it's cool. You have to freaking I keep saying that, man. You got to make people just know that what they're doing or what they're saying impacts, and it makes a difference. If they don't feel like what they're doing is doing this, or if the local big shot person that's out there isn't making it cool or look cool, then they're not going to do it. And then sometimes, man, be honest with you, sometimes just a matter of the lines. People get there and the lines are too long. Getting there, actually getting there, and all that type of stuff. So I mean, it's a lot of different things about it, I think, but education again, I still go back, get them there so they understand the impact.
Okay, what you got, Mr. Toller?
I agree once again, but I also feel like word of mouth in a situation like this carries too. So for instance, it's an event going on in your area, X, Y, and Z, outside venue, pop-up tent, pop-up table. Hey, check this out. Come here, youngster. Come here, young guy. Let's take a look at this. Are you familiar with voting X, Y, and Z? Once they see the energy swinging, and they're giving that energy to that, then you're going to have others that's going to follow suit. So that's one of my plans for Truthland County, man. Taking advantage of these events that's taking place this summer. I'm gonna have some pop-up tables for you, and then being able to regurgitate what it is that they are looking for, bridge it with what it is that you can do with them, and go from there.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. And matter of fact, during your retirement celebration, David, you spoke a lot about why you came back to Thompson, right? About how you were trying to change some things as far as mentorship, because what Nick Tuller talking about is really getting out here mentoring the young, right? Setting up those pop-up tents, stopping them as they walk by. I mean, we were once out there, right, as young men. So go ahead and weigh in, man. How you trying to do things out in McDuffie County to get everybody involved?
Yeah, that's a good idea. What he just said about utilizing those events that's happening and setting up a booth or a table or so to educate those that are coming in and tell them about voting. It's like, and what Jay was saying about it's got to be a trend. You got to somehow target people and that don't understand it, right? I'm gonna go back to education, man. You got to educate them first. So that's what I want to do. I want to educate them about the different elected seats, government seats that's in your local city, right? Starting off at the bottom, starting off at the ground level, right? That impacts you directly, right? And so that they understand how you can leverage these people that are sitting in these seats, right? What you can do, how do you request certain things for your community? You know, who can do what? Who are the major players in these elected seats, like your city council, your commissioner? What can they do for you? You know, and what regions, what area they cover, right? So you got to educate the people first so they understand what can I get out of voting, right? And once they understand what I can get out of voting, then I think they'll be more inclined to vote.
Okay. No, I agree with each one of y'all, man. That's one of the things that I have to do is introduce myself, right, to a lot of voters, right? I would love to introduce myself to all 750,000 voters. But the truth of the matter is, what you gentlemen are talking about is we need to get out here and talk to the youth. And big shout out to the Young Democrats of Georgia. I went down to their convention just recently in Savannah. We had a lot of awesome presenters that came up, and I heard some information where they were talking about the demographics, where you have the older generations, right, that naturally vote, right? You have the older generations that it's still fresh in their minds about things that happened in the past, right? Whether it be minority groups or marginalized, populations that finally got their voting rights, right? Or even, going back to integration of schools, right? You're talking about education. We're talking about the integration of schools. That actually mattered throughout history about who was sitting in what seat, right? Because certain things would have never happened for certain marginalized groups had you not had the right people sitting in the right seats. And so for me, once again, us being within this demographic of that, 40 club, I can just look at the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, and I feel as if our parents, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, all that strife they went through because they were kids during like the Jim Crow eras and stuff, right? It's on us to give that message back to the youngest, man, because it's almost like they don't fully understand what our grandparents went through and why it was so important for them to vote. I think my wife, and then I get off this, she was telling me about one gentleman that she went to go to school with over at Helms College. And so this gentleman was talking about in his country how important voting was, where people would actually physically put hands on you, right, if you did not vote. And that's true in a lot of countries, right? So it goes back to the comfortability. Everybody feels comfort, here in America, where everybody's free, man. You can do what you want to do. Why would you vote, right? But then also it's the education piece. That's why I say it's huge to just talk to kids, man. Be like, hey, do you even understand why we celebrate Juneteenth? Just don't come out here and party, man. Let's actually talk about why we celebrate it. So yeah, really, hey, y'all go ahead and weigh in. I know for a fact that the thing for me, serving 20 years, defending the entire nation, I just see a lot of marginalized people out here on the street still. And it don't sit well with me, right? So I'm just out here to educate, but at the same time, if you go to my website, you're gonna see protect, educate, and empower. And that's what I'm trying to do. So how y'all feeling, man?
Feeling good, bro.
Look.
It's an uphill battle, man. That we about to tackle, man, because the youth and like you said, the older generation, they know the importance of voting. It was passed down to them. I don't know where that we lost that passed down, and because I know I didn't get it, so I don't know where it stopped at, but it wasn't passed down, the importance of voting to us. You know what I'm saying? So now I think we got to pick it back up and start passing it down, saying, hey, you need to be concerned about who's sitting in these seats, and what they bring to the table and what they're offering. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get the youth back involved, because if you look, there's a lot of old people that's sitting in these seats, right? There's a lot of old people sitting in these seats, but who said that you got to be 40, 50? You know what I'm saying? Nah, yeah, or 60. You know what I'm saying? Because pretty much most of them are 50 plus, right? You got some young youth in there, some young people that's coming in, but it's sporadic. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough, right? So we gotta bring this together, you know, and couple with everybody. It just can't be me, it can't be David, it can't be Nicholas Toller, it can't be Jay. You know, we're gonna need a community of people to bring this together to try to change this narrative where it's just old people that they're not listening to us. Like old people don't represent us. You know what I'm saying?
David, stop calling them old people. They're seniors, sir. Okay.
Hey,
so, but I love your passion.
It's a real conversation. It's a real conversation. When I get old, call me old. You know, I accept it. You know what I'm saying? But really, we got to do that.
No, but no, look. I'm with you. Look, you got everybody fired up. Let's go ahead, Justin Rainey. What you got, man?
Hey man, so speaking of what he's talking about, right? I don't know if y'all was watching the news, but the young cats from Tennessee, there was some young bulls. And you know what they out there doing? They was fighting for their population. And they took over like, hey, y'all old folks are about to stop and listen to what we're saying. And what happened? They tried to oust them. They tried to get them up out of there. But their people said no. Their people that they were representing said, no, you're not kicking out our people, and they forced them to put them back in. So that's it, man. Like he said, he hit it nail on the head. If you keep going with old people and you're not going to the polls and you're not voting and you're not using your rights that our grandparents and folks before us fought for us to get, if you're not using those rights, then you're going to keep getting old laws, rules, i.e. right now, you got women trying to fight for what they can and can't do with their body. You know what I'm saying? How is somebody else going to tell somebody what they can and can't do with their body? Their body. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you have these, and I hear it too, Battle. I hear it out here. People are really passionate about issues, but then they don't know where to go, who to turn to, this, that, and the third. So again, like my man's David is saying, education. We got to get up there, got to educate it, just like it was for us back then. You know how it was for us back then. Education. Everything starts with knowledge. Everything starts with knowledge. You know what I'm saying? If you go back, I know a lot of people are biblical and all that stuff, right? Knowledge. Everything goes about teaching. I think we've got away from that in this generation where everybody thinks they know it. You know who's teaching everybody now? The music. Superstars, TV, Netflix. You know what I'm saying? That's what the teaching is now. YouTube. If it ain't on YouTube, they don't want to go look at it. TikTok.
So let me say this though, Battle, and then I'm gonna kick it to Nick Toller. I'm with you 100%, and you saying a lot of things near and dear to my heart, and I'm glad David Mute got you hype over there, because this is what we need, right? You know, talking about the education piece, really the each one teach one. You know what I mean? Like you're right. It's been happening throughout history where everybody was not supposed to be educated for a reason, right? You control people through education. If you're undereducated, I can control you easier, right? So you're absolutely right. The education piece. But man, the senior citizens, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna flip this over to Nick to get his piece. But I said this a few weeks ago, so that's why I say we all on the same one accord. I said it to Dr. Teachy. Shout out to Dr. Teachy. How you doing? I said, ma'am, right now we need our generation to tell the older generation, the seniors, to have a seat. We got this. Right? We need to step up. Hey, y'all have a seat over there. How we do in the military when we got a senior? Hey, you sit over there, you kick back. I got this, right? But go ahead, Nick. What you got, man?
So to speak on that narrative that David was talking about and blend in with Justin. So somewhat down the line, entitlement came into the picture. Selfish thoughts. We got to get the word that is the picture is bigger than what they think it is. We have to leave something, or shall I say, we have to go back to where this has the importance of what it needs to have for our children, grandchildren, so on and so forth, to be able to take the reins and move forward, like we are speaking of right now with getting the reins from those senior citizen individuals in those positions, and get some fresh blood in there, fresh eyes in there, and do what needs to be done for the masses, man.
Yeah.
For the masses.
Yeah, and that's the masses, man. Look, here's the thing. If you paid attention to the election results I put up there earlier, I didn't really cover the demographics as far as race and things of that nature. But going back to the education piece, it just so happens to be one side that's less educated than the other, right? Like it's, and when I say one side, I'm not even talking about race right here, right? I'm talking about, because when we go to any county that's out here, you see poor, black and white, right? And other races, right? Like you have a poor side of town, right? And those are the areas where people are less likely to vote, to be honest with you. Because I heard another gentleman say this. He was like, hey, you pick the people up from the nice neighborhoods, right? The really nice, upscale neighborhoods, and you put them in the neighborhoods that are like bad, right? That are underserved. A lot of things are going to change because those people know the process and they know who I'm about to go yell at about fixing stuff, right? So it's one of those things where that if you can get people to be educated on these issues, then they will participate. Because then, like I think one of y'all said it earlier, they need to know who to go talk to. Who do I go talk to when I have a local issue? Is this, and if this is a local issue, how do I get that person up out of there that has not been taking care of my local issues, right? For a long time, right? And so, yeah, through education, I'm with y'all. But I go back to this one more time because the 24 counties, right? And it's not just these 24 counties. I'm gonna put this out there right now. And then I'm gonna ask y'all once again the same question. But this is what I want to say. When I got back, I retired, I got back to the area and I started to get involved more and more with politics because naturally getting involved in education, I led to politics. There were a lot of people out here, men and women, telling me they really needed me to run, right? Hey, Mr. Jackson, we need you to run for some kind of office, right? So for me, I was kind of, taken aback, going back to what Justin was saying, that the young guys in there, right? You're like, these two young guys standing up for it, right? And I came back to this area and I'm like, man, okay, I can't be the only person that's capable of stepping up to run this area, right? With all the veterans, I think we got almost 8% veterans. The population is almost 8% veteran here in the 12th congressional district. I can't be the only one that cares about the neighborhood. I can't be the only one that cares about these young kids getting shot, right? I can't be the only one that cares about the drug issues, right? So where we at though? How do we get these people? How do we organize? Like we military men here, man. How do we organize, man? What do we got to do to get these people to all work together as a team?
Battle.
To this issue?
Fear is your greatest enemy right now. Fear is your greatest enemy. And I say that because Battle, I know some people that is in your district. And I was like, hey, what about this, that, and the third? They said, oh, I can't do this, that, and the third because I don't want the money to come out. They're going to cut the money out from me. The people who is providing me these services will oust me out because I'm voicing a political opinion that goes against theirs. So fear and money. Anyway, fear and money. But people don't realize that nothing comes without a fight. You know what I'm saying? Nothing good comes without a fight. Everything that comes with change comes with a fight. You know what I'm saying? We know it as veterans because we're always the ones that got to go fight. And we gear up for fight.
I had to fight.
You already know. But while you playing, Battle, man, we've served in the military since 17. I'm still in, but I've been in since I was 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? I went to combat at 18 and was leading soldiers at 19 as a sergeant. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, man, you gotta go out there, man. And people are scared, but you gotta realize if you won't change, you gotta go fight for it. Our parents and grandparents, all of that, they had to go fight. Yes, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but if you want a change to happen, change is gonna come. You gotta go fight, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get up, man. You gotta roll your sleeves up. And some days are gonna suck. Sleeping out in that field for 30 days like we all did, running from ticks, ants, snakes, everything else. It sucks. But what happens? The people of America sleep good because of the sacrifices we made. People got to understand that, yes, you got to make a sacrifice in order for change to happen, to make those things that you're scared of now, your child isn't scared of later. Roll your sleeves up and get in the fight.
Yeah, You bring up a great point, man. That's another thing with voting. Is too many families and people, they just concerned about their little bubble, you know, and you don't understand how everything outside of your bubble impacts your bubble. You see what I'm saying? So they just, I just care about my family and my kids, you know. Forget all of that, you know. I ain't even worried about it. Ain't nothing I could do to change it, but they sit and talk about it and complain about it, you know. But knowing that you can do something to change it, you just don't feel like putting in that effort, that grit. You know what I'm saying? Like you I'm just gonna focus over here, you know, because it's a sacrifice. You got to take time to do it, right? But you rather just, you know, watch you know, whatever the TV shows and all of that. That's a distraction. You know, you need to understand what's going on. Even the news is not telling us what's going on. You know, so we got to get beyond all of that and get outside the bubble and care about what's outside the bubble. You know, and start taking action.
No, that's what's up. Look, and that's the crazy thing. You hit a big one talking about even the news is not putting out the right information because, you know, our people, what did they say? Put it in a book battle? Yeah. Well, hold on there. Look. Right. So people from where we come from, these underserved communities, we struggle with that, man. We struggle with paying attention to the news. But look, we know as veterans, we had to be sitting in that talk looking to see if we was going to be going to war with somebody, right? All the time. So we became news babies, right? Basically, like we were groomed that way. And so to that point, though, you start talking about the news culturally. The people who are usually in the more upscale areas, they usually talk about politics with their kids, right? So they educate at the table, right? This kitchen table and things of that nature. But just what you're saying, though, man, it opens a lot of different boxes. And I want to let Nick, I'm going to let you weigh in, man, because I want to keep it going exactly with what David and Justin have been saying. Like we got to make it important, but like go ahead and weigh in, man. I want to hear what you got.
Hey, man. So the saying goes, it takes money to make money, right?
Yeah.
You can't get nothing for free. So you got to put some work in order to reap the benefits. So with that being said, we got to figure out how to broadcast that to this generation so that they understand it and put it at their level and know that there are steps to it. And we have to the steps are there. We just need to implement those steps and proceed with letting everyone know that this is a bigger picture. Like he said, it's not just your bubble. It's a bigger. Yeah. We all need to realize that.
Yeah, because he was talking about misinformation too, and that's why I want to ask you about this one, right? And I asked the group about this one because the misinformation that I see right now is. It seems like it could be remedied by local and state leaders, but I don't understand. Maybe it's because politics is not that important to people, so they don't listen to those people to begin with. But it seems like there's some information, a lot of misinformation that gets to the young folks out here that keeps them from voting as well. Just like a lot of misinformation gets to them about the military, right? Where people be like, man, I'm not going to join that military. But then, you know, for us that's been in 20 years, we fully understand. We're like, man, the military actually sets you up for success by giving you a lot of leadership skills, organization skills, and I mean, even though they take you and they get you for everything, right? They go get their time, but they actually set you up for success, right? Showing you what the real world looks like. Like Justin said, 17 years old, we was out there getting busy, right? So, talk about the misinformation though, because it goes back to the mentorship, right? Like what Fox News just got hit with that defamation lawsuit, right? And that was like how you had people rushing the Capitol. Think about that. You had people rushing the Capitol, man, because of misinformation. So, like, how do we? Yeah, go ahead.
You know, people look to the news for guidance. It's no different than the weatherman. And if you from Georgia, you know you can't trust the weatherman. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, he gonna tell you it's raining when it's raining outside. You know, you can see that, but the news is they sway you where they want to sway you, and that's all about dollars anyway. But the people don't understand that. They're gonna tell you what they want you to hear, and tell you that so you can make a decision that they want you to make, and that's not where we need to be. We don't need to be looking the news to guide us for who we need to vote for. Don't do that. You need to do your education, you know, and understand who you're voting for, what they stand for, what they talking about implementing your communities. So you don't look for the news for information.
Okay, yeah. So get out there and figure it out on like dig into it and figure out what's going on, because Justin hit this earlier too, talking about influencers, right? How influencers, they go out there and they'll listen to the influencer. Influencer be like, yeah, vote for this person, right? And there's no research done on it. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna vote for it because, you know, the rapper said it or whoever said it, right? Which I get it, you know what I'm saying? No hate to the rappers, man. Everybody, you know, they have their the thing that they got to do, right? But I feel as if there's that missing element, right? Where going back to us being out there, where we could help remedy that, right? Where it's just like, I saw so many young people growing up that thought that, you know, the people we listened to, whether it be, you know, Master P, you know what I'm saying, or whoever at that time, it was like, man, this is real life. And you got to a point where you was like, nah, man, it's actually entertainment, right? And I think a lot of our people, they get it caught up in that entertainment and they start to make it seem like it's real life, man. And getting them outside of that bubble, right? Getting them outside and bringing them back to real life. I think that's something that's going to take some time. But the importance of it all, I feel like the what we got right here, man, starting with 4, you know, you bring a few together, man, and I think it's going to grow, right? So like, I just don't, for me, communicating that to the youth, it's the message, right, about what they care about, right? What do they care about? How do you get them to care? Because look, Gen Z is different. I think Mayor McCollar said they're the got time generation, but at the same time, they got a lot of time, so they be chilling, right? They TikToking it out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta take over social media platforms to really communicate with them, right? Effectively. How do we get together with our veteran base, man? Because we got a whole generation that's coming out from us millennials is different too, right? We went through the military and it wasn't like, you know, the old military. I mean, we got all these different generals of different races now at the top of the military, right? You got people, I mean, Congress even looks very different from back, you know what I'm saying, in the days when we was growing up, right? So I feel like it's a different time and there needs to be different you know, angles that we attack this problem from. So that's what I want to really dig into. I heard Nick Toller talking about he gonna set those tents up. You know, we're gonna get them out. Man, how do we motivate the youth this summer, man? How do we motivate them going towards this campaign to get them involved to say, hey, man, you know, you are actually part of the solution, because a lot of young folks that's 18 don't vote. You know, 18-year-olds don't vote for real. I don't even think I voted at 18. I was in the military, but I didn't vote, right? Because I didn't fully understand, right? So let's go ahead and talk about that. Like, how do I motivate this person outside of an influencer to get out and vote and actually care and participate?
I think starting out with somebody said the other night when we was in a meeting, we need to attend these graduations, even if you ain't got family graduating, right? Mm-hmm. Attend these graduations and talk to them. They know who you are. You know, they know your name. You know, they know your face, especially if you're from that area. And just talk to them, but then always slide that nugget in about, hey, you 18 now, you can vote. You know what I'm saying? Your vote matters, right? And just put that piece of in the back of their mind, their subconscious, so that they're like, oh, okay. And then try to create something. We need to create something to capture or to pull them in real quick and educate them too on voting, right? The local voting and things of that nature, different seats and all of that, but we need to start pulling up to where they at and in large numbers and chatting with them.
Right. Go ahead, Nick.
They need to know that that mentality of my vote ain't gonna count. It don't matter. That's old news. They need to know that every vote counts. Every vote matters. Every thought, as in what can be done, it has to start somewhere. So beginning with voting, beginning with when you vote, you can bring 3-4 people with you to do the exact same thing, so we can get this train rolling in the right direction, because everyone needs to be on the same sheet of music as we get ready to move down that road, man.
Okay. What you got, Jay?
Hey man, so first off, Battle, the reason why we didn't vote when we was 18, because we was in the middle of Iraq for OIF 1. It's not,
Right.
thought I'd bring it back so you remember what we was doing at 18 years old. We was in
Yeah.
Iraq in that chemical suit, rolling through them streets. But that's what we was doing at 18. But hey, yeah, man, like they both said, man, they got to realize, man, that yeah, you feel like your vote doesn't count, but when you add your vote along with your battle buddies' vote, along with this person's vote, and then next thing you know, you got a community of vote. I look at Georgia. Period. Now, Georgia is what they call a purple state, blue. Like when we don't win blue now 2 times because now people are realizing the power of voting. You get in there and you do it, and you're good, man. Hey, teamwork make the dream work. Isn't that what we say?
Yeah. But look,
So
hey, to that point, look, check this out though, because I got to hit y'all with a heavy one before we get up out of here. This is the one that I think I alluded to it earlier in the conversation, but I really need to talk about this one because I during our committee meetings, I believe I put out to everybody that I'm going to start holding people accountable, right? That's, you know how Jack do it, man. Jack, he likes to hold people accountable, my peers, right? I got to come talk to y'all. We got to talk about
sound like an old warrant officer.
As men and women. Yeah, I hear you over there. Yeah, Eagle Rising, baby. Look, but no, as men and women, we really need to hold each other accountable, right? And so the thing that I always hear, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, right, as to why healthcare system is broken, as the education system is broken, right? There's so many things broken in America. And well, I got to go back to my battle buddies because I love my veterans. We literally are the biggest company in the nation. And we get the most money for our training. So when we come out of the military, I understand it. I understand chasing a paycheck. I actually did it for a year. It actually, you know what I'm saying? It made sense, right? We did 20 years going to Iraq, doing all this stuff. But for us to come out of the military and not get involved in the community, that's where I get confused, right? I get confused at that point, right? Because I want to understand, what did we forget from where we came from? The reason I went to the military at 17 because I dropped out of high school at 14. You see what I'm saying? The places I come from was not conducive to raising a gifted child, which I was in Richmond County school system. You see what I'm saying? So to that point, if we know, right? Because they say if you know better, you do better. What's up with our veterans, man? Because we are like the most diverse retirees right now, right? There's a lot of diversity in it, but we knowledgeable, man. We active. Like, well, why are we not active in this and changing the nation? Go ahead and help me out, fellas.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, Battle. A lot of people retire in areas that they're not from. You know what I'm saying? The fact that, for instance, let's say for me, I'm still in right now, but currently I'm in Alabama. Alabama looks real good over here to retirement because of what they're gonna give me for when I retire, my benefits for when I retire. So a lot of times veterans, when we get out, we've fought for 20 years. We've done all this other stuff for 20 plus years. We're looking for those benefits. They're looking for that comfort. They're looking for that, where can I just want to relax. I don't want to fight no more. Like you said, all my life, I don't have to fight. So I don't want to fight no more. Where do I want to go to do this? But mentorship, Battle, is something that we all learn from a young pup all the way up to we meet these senior ranks. It's mentorship. And at the thing, the Army created something called Futures Command, where the Army invests millions of dollars to prepare for the future, right? For the future. Our future is our youth. What are we doing to invest in our youth? That's the key question. So, Battle, I say this right here. We lead, but a lot of people forget. We lead, but a lot of people forget because they have fought so far for the government and for the country, so they no longer want to fight no more. They want to think about self. It's all about self at this point now.
Yeah. So let me say this then. I want because we're coming close to the end of the time, and I'm gonna kick this over to Nick Toller and David for their final thoughts. That's a lot, Battle, but I want to key in on this specific thing, is that the people who are able to come back and they're able to mentor to these kids, right? We see the difference, right? We see the difference in the kids when we go out and we speak to them, right? We know that there's truth in there's a power in us as what we've been through in actually connecting with these kids, right? So when you say Futures Command has, you know, all this stuff that they're investing millions of dollars in, right? Like, you got to think, we are in a country where the Defense Department gets more than education. That's just how it is. But we are protecting our country, right? There's a reason for that. As veterans, we understand that. But what we also understand, and we should understand, is that this nation is only going to be good if we fix our K through 12 education. Because K through 12 education drives the rest of everything, right? If we don't get good recruits in the military, guess what? That's probably something wrong with K through 12 education. If we aren't able to fill the jobs within the workforce throughout the economy, guess what? More than likely, K through 12 education needs to, modernize. So with that, guys, go ahead, Nick Toller. I'm gonna kick it over to you. I just want to key in on what Justin just said. Like, it's all about that mentorship. But like I say, the veterans coming out, we come out to different places. Like, how do we get to a point where we're able to shape what we know to be true within our local areas, even if we don't come back to the state of Georgia? Because it's about the country, right? At the end of the day. Go ahead, Nick Toller, weigh in, sir.
So we have to get rid of that. What is it? Let leave well enough alone. That's the mentality that people have. And okay, it's already in place. What can I do to change it? X, Y, and Z. And to his point, people moving to or setting roots down in areas that they didn't grow up in. That doesn't mean that they cannot get involved and cannot help with the mentorship to instill change. So in my mind, like, I'm involved here with the football program with the kids here, and I listen to these kids and what they're saying to me while we're coaching and things of that nature. It's like, man, yeah, K through 12 really needs some man, because it's like what's really going on? Where did we go wrong at? And with that being said, that bigger picture, bro, I keep coming back to it. It's bigger than us. We've lived that life for this time frame. So what are we gonna leave, and how are we gonna pull these guys up to take our place, man? So that mentality of leaving well enough alone has to change, and getting out to these veteran organizations and having conversations with these individuals to pick their brain and see what it is that is keeping them from wanting to get involved. I feel like that will pay dividends moving forward as well.
Okay, cool. What you got, David?
Hey, the K-12, that's a big topic, man. You got to start with pay. You ain't paying these teachers, you know. You got to start with pay. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but I don't understand how we have all these entertainers, right? They make all these millions, billions of dollars. Entertainers, right? Where they come from, though? They had to go through K-12, right? Everybody had to go through K-12 in this country, right? But you don't want to pay them. You don't want to pay those administrators in that system, right? And then you change the curriculums and you do these standardized tests, you know, and then you don't have enough teachers to teach these students. And then you got teachers that's being parents because you don't have parents at home. That's a whole nother problem. But you got to pay these people. You got to give them incentives, right? Yeah. Some type of incentives. We got it in the military. Did we not get a stipend, you know, for BAH, for BAS, you know, for food and housing? Like, what about these teachers? There got to be some type of incentives for these teachers to improve this whole system, right? Because most teachers these days, they teaching, they know they ain't making no money, but they love it. But think about what happens if you pay them. Oh man, you're gonna it's gonna change the whole nation, man. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, and look, and that's why I'm glad you put that out there, man. And I want to wrap this up with these statements, and I'm gonna go for y'all last words, very, very briefly. The fact that you brought up teachers, man, is everything to me, because if you understand the issues that we've been having, this is across the country. Once again, the issues that we're talking about right now are not unique to the 12th congressional district. You have issues with education across the board in all of these states. So once you start to dig into the data, though, you start to realize that a lot of the states in local governments, when I say local, the county and city level, 90% of the dollars, the federal dollars, or 90% of the dollars that actually go to those schools at the local level, it's from local and state funds, right? And there's something out there that says around 10% is brought in from the federal government, right? So once again, if K through 12 education, which we all agree upon from what I'm hearing, is that driving force to fix our military, right, to protect the nation, and also fix all the things that's broken in industry, right? President Biden said we have nearly 1 million open cybersecurity jobs, right? That's just one industry. Then shouldn't all of these other corporations, to include the DOD and all, everyone, shouldn't they be investing more into K through 12 education, right? So those teachers can get paid. So that's what I'm saying. Wrapping it all up, that's legislation. At the end of the day, there are things that have to be done at the federal level, decisions that have to be made at the federal level to say, hey, this is a national issue. We have to fix education. And right now, I'm putting this on the screen just so we can go ahead and answer this question. One of the issues that hinders us from getting assistance is consistency on our part. We start something and we get weary and well doing and simply quit. Same with the teachers, community leaders, volunteers, etc. Nobody will help us until we help one another. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all get y'all final words in. 30 seconds for each one of y'all. Go ahead and weigh in on that question that Chancey Howard just put out. Chancey Hayward just put out.
Honestly, that's my boy. That's we was in. We did a good some 501c3 work in the DC area. But he has a point, consistency, and that's the thing is as leaders, we carry our own bag, right? And you out here fighting, like going back to the thing you said, why veterans ain't going back home and giving back, right? Veterans, you go through a lot in the military, so it's that bag that you carrying, it gets heavy sometimes, right? But he bring up a great point. If you got enough people that's taking action, then those people will motivate the person that's, oh man, I can't do it no more. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or pick up the person, oh man, I can't do it no more. Nah, come on, man, I got you. We gonna do this strong. We're gonna finish strong. We're gonna ride it all the way out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep going. But you don't have that community of people, right? Yeah. So some people just, hey, they bag get heavy and they just go back in that bubble and they in that bubble. They might come back out sometimes, but I understand that, So in order to have consistency, we're gonna need more numbers.
Okay, Nick, go ahead and weigh in. Let me get 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. So those numbers come with the help your battle buddy out, pick your battle buddy up. Go back to Daniel Jackson when we was at the academy with blue belt down. We made sure we picked up our battle buddy when we knew we on them Vernon Primos and Lorenzo Lewis runs. So we have to know that what we're trying to get to, we can't get to by ourselves. We need everyone else to come up and get there with us. So we need to ensure that we are holding each other accountable, holding their hands, moving them up to the mark that we need to make it to, so that we can make this change that needs to take place. That's it.
I say, go ahead, Justin Rainey. Let me get 30 seconds. I know you long with it, man. Let me get 30.
Hey, man, listen, man. Big Sarge gonna keep it cool real quick, right? So listen, man. They said we got to help ourselves, man. That's the biggest thing we always say, man. Help comes within. Your squad, your team, whatever it is, team comes up, right? Iron sharpens iron. We got to be with each other, right? I'm sorry it's getting dark, Battle. I'm out here moving still.
Darkness. Come on now.
But, man, Battle, I really, 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 after all this, though, man, I really want to tap in one time with this education piece, man. I got a lot of words and thoughts on that, but I'm going to wrap it up with just, I love where you're going, Battle. I love what you're doing, and we here with you, Battle. All right.
I appreciate that, man. Gentlemen, look, and I'm going to just throw this up on the screen real quick. If y'all want to get with me and my fellas, Jay, Nicholas Toller, and David Mew, we move with the things out here. www.danieljacksonforcongress.com. We're going to continue to do these weekly, and we're going to have different topics every week. So please tap in, go to the website, support, through donations and volunteer. Love y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Sir, love you, bro. See you.
Lou.